So, what is time? I mean, it seems like such a simple question, right? But it might just be one of the deepest mysteries we've ever faced. And get this, it's the most used noun in the entire English language. We're totally obsessed with it, we plan our lives by it. But do we have any clue what it actually is?
Because here's the thing, and it's a bit of a mind bender that comes straight from the heart of modern physics. Our whole gut feeling about how time works, it might be completely and totally wrong. And no, this isn't just some late-night philosophical question. It's a very real problem that keeps physicists staring at the ceiling at night. What if time, the way we feel it pass, is just the most convincing illusion we've ever known? And look, that's not just some fringe theory. That's a direct quote from Carlo Rovelli, a theoretical physicist who's one of the top minds on this very subject. He's basically saying that the image we all have in our heads, of some giant cosmic clock ticking away the same for everybody everywhere, is pure fantasy. It means if we want to even get close to the truth, we have to start by tearing down everything we thought we knew. So in this explainer, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going on a journey. We'll kick things off with our own illusion of time, then we'll jump into Einstein's totally warped reality. We're going to figure out why time has this unstoppable forward arrow. Then we'll look at the strange little clock ticking away inside our own brains. From there, we'll wrestle with the huge question of whether the future is already written. And we'll wrap it all up at the quantum frontier, where the ultimate mystery of time is waiting. Okay, first up, this idea that we all share a single, universal time. It's so deeply baked into how we think, but it's the very first thing modern physics tells us to just throw right out the window. The idea that there's a single now happening for everyone in the universe at the same instant, turns out that's just not how it works.
And this really gets to the core of why it's so hard for us to grasp. Our brains evolved to see time as this nice, neat, straight line. It was incredibly useful, right? It helps you hunt, it helps you farm, it helps you build entire civilizations, and, not be late for coffee. It's a fantastic mental tool. But here's the catch. This simple, linear flow is a story our brain tells us. It's not a fundamental law of the cosmos. And the person who first took a sledgehammer to this idea of a universal clock was, of course, Albert Einstein. His theories of relativity didn't just adjust our understanding of time, they grabbed the entire rulebook and rewrote it from scratch. See, before Einstein, we were all living in Isaac Newton's universe. For Newton, time was absolute. It was like a cosmic metronome, ticking away perfectly and uniformly for everyone and everything. He called it true time. But then Einstein came along and showed that this was wrong. Time is relative. The speed at which it passes depends entirely on your emotion and your location. He took the 3 dimensions of space and fused them with time into this single 4-dimensional fabric. And this is the game-changing idea, space-time. It's not space and time. It's a single unified thing. And according to Einstein, this isn't just a clever concept. It's the actual stage where all of reality happens. You're constantly moving through space-time. The wild part is, the faster you zip through the dimensions of space, the slower you travel through the dimension of time. So where does gravity fit into all this? Well, Einstein realized gravity isn't some spooky, invisible force. It's literally the shape of space-time being bent and warped by mass and energy. Think of it like a bowling ball on a trampoline. And because time is woven into that fabric, massive objects literally slow down the flow of time. Your feet are aging just a little bit slower than your head is right now. I'm serious. This isn't just theory. The GPS satellites that your phone uses have to constantly correct for this effect, or they'd be useless in a matter of hours. Okay, so that raises a massive question. If time is just another dimension, like length or width, how come it's a one-way street? We can move forwards, backwards, up, down, left, right in space. So why can we only move forward in time? Why does the past seem to be so stubbornly, irreversibly behind us? This is what we call the arrow of time. We all know which way it points, instinctively. You see an egg fall and shatter into a million pieces, and it makes perfect sense. But if you saw all those pieces suddenly fly back together and reform a perfect egg on the table, you'd know immediately that you're just watching a video in reverse. The weird thing is, for a single particle, the laws of physics don't really care which way time flows. So what is going on with the bigger picture? Well, the answer seems to be rooted in one of the most powerful laws in all of science, the Second Law of Thermodynamics. And this introduces a concept called entropy. Now, entropy sounds complicated, but you can just think of it as a measure of disorder or randomness. And what the second law says is that in a closed system, like our universe, things always move from a state of order to a state of disorder. So our era of time is actually a story about the entire universe. It all starts about 13.8 billion years ago. The universe began in this incredibly ordered, very low entropy state. And ever since the Big Bang, it's been expanding, cooling, and getting more and more disordered. That unstoppable, relentless march from order to chaos, that is what our brains perceive as the forward flow of time. It's why we have memories of the past, but not the future.
All right, so let's pull back from the vastness of the cosmos for a second and zoom right into our own consciousness. Because the physical arrow of time is one thing, but our personal, subjective experience of time, that's something else entirely. And it's constructed right here, between our ears.
You know, a huge insight from neuroscience is that your brain doesn't have a little stopwatch somewhere inside it passively measuring the seconds. No, it's much more active than that. Your brain is a storyteller, and it is constantly building your experience of time from all the sensory information it's getting. And because your sense of time is a mental construction, it can be stretched and squeezed like taffy. You've probably felt this. In a car accident or a crisis, time seems to slow to a crawl. That's your brain kicking into overdrive and capturing way more detail. And when you're having a great time, it just flies by, partly thanks to the chemical dopamine. Even crazier, your brain is a constant film editor. The sound of a clap and the sight of your hands hitting reach your brain at different speeds, but it syncs them up, presenting you with a single, seamless moment that never actually happened that way.
So what does all this mental processing mean? Well, it takes time. Not a lot, but a few millionths of a second. That's how long it takes for your brain to collect all the data, make sense of it, and then serve up your conscious reality. Which leads to a truly bizarre conclusion. You are always living just a tiny fraction of a second in the past. So when you mix this bizarre physics with our tricky grain perception, you walk right into one of the biggest philosophical brawls of all time. If spacetime is a real thing, and time is a dimension within it, what does that actually mean for the past, the present, and the future?
Well, there are basically three main ways to think about this. First is the block universe. This idea comes straight out of relativity, and it says the past, present, and future are all equally real, all coexisting in this four-dimensional block of spacetime. If this is true, the future is already written. Then there's the growing block, which is a bit of a compromise. It says the past and present are real, but the future is still open. It's being created right now. And finally, presentism, which is our gut instinct. Only this very moment is real. Physics, though, physics seems to point pretty strongly toward the block universe. But wait, there's another angle on this, from the great philosopher Immanuel Kant. He thought we might be asking the question all wrong. He said maybe time isn't a feature of the universe at all. Instead, Kant proposed that time is a fundamental structure of our own minds. It's like we're all born wearing a pair of time-colored glasses that we can never, ever take off. We don't experience the world in time, we experience it through time. It's the software our brain uses to process reality. And that idea brings us right up to the absolute bleeding edge of modern science. This is where our best theories of the universe slam into each other and force us to ask the deepest possible questions about what time truly is. And here it is. This is arguably the biggest problem in all of physics today. It's called the problem of time. Einstein's general relativity, our theory for big stuff like stars and galaxies, sees time as bendy, relative, and part of space-time. But quantum mechanics, our theory for tiny stuff like atoms and particles, mostly treats time as a fixed, unchanging background, kind of like Newton did. These two theories are the twin pillars of physics, and their fundamental ideas about time are completely contradictory. They can't both be right, not at the deepest level. So what's the answer? Well, a very strange and powerful idea is taking hold. What if time isn't fundamental at all? What if it's an emergent property? Think of it this way. A single molecule of H2O isn't wet. Wetness is a property that emerges when you have trillions of them all interacting. In the same way, maybe at the deepest, most fundamental quantum level, there is no time. There's just a timeless reality. And what we experience as the flow of time just emerges from the weird quantum connections between particles. Which leaves us right here, staring at this final, profound question. After a journey through physics and neuroscience and philosophy, what are we left with? Is time a real, fundamental feature of the universe's fabric, or is it the most sophisticated and stubborn illusion our minds have ever cooked up, a filter that shapes every single moment of our reality without being reality itself? The clock is ticking, but we're only just starting to understand what that even means.